Hi all, this is just going to be a kind of quick show. There's a couple of things I thought it'd be interesting to talk about. Firstly, Lone Wolf, the tournament going to America, the first draws come out, so I thought I'd talk a bit about that. And secondly, there was a bit of an interesting spate of articles recently in Warhammer Fanatics about Maths Hammer and working out odds and probabilities. So just wanted to stick my oar in that and share my thoughts. So first up, Lone Wolf. The draw for this went up a couple of days ago. Well, the first of four draws I think they're apparently at now because I think it's about 80 people at this tournament, so it's a biggie. And I was drawn in the first batch, and I just want to say now, Jeff, if you're listening, it was not fear that caused me not to grudge you. You're applying sort of the wrong emotion. What it is procrastination. I was totally going to grudge you tomorrow when I could get round to it. It's just that's all it was. Pure procrastination on my heart. Before I knew it, we're actually here. I'd lost complete track of time and didn't even realise Lone Wolf was next week away till my wife reminded me. So I had a wee bit of a I better get ready. So anyway, on to the draw. So I've been drawn on the first game against Eric Nelson. He's got Ratkin, and it's quite a nasty army. So he's got a shock trooper horde with the Brew of Haste, two Blight hordes with one of them's got the Hammer of Measured Force, sorry. Three claw shots, I think they're troops. Brute horde, two weapon teams with the Piercing upgrade, the Death Engine with the Vile Sorcery upgrade, Warlock with the Fernian Amulet. If I remember rightly, that's the Wind Blast upgrade. I could be wrong, don't quote me on that one. A Crier that's naked, and Demon Spawn with the Fly upgrade. I am not really looking forward to playing that list already, and then from what I understand, Eric is a really good player as well. So this is, I'm not going to lie, it's going to be an uphill struggle for anyone who actually picked me to win that. You're probably going to be highly disappointed. Yeah, he's got enough shooting to be a real issue for me here, and even if I want to run across the table and get past all the shooting, he's going to have that shock troop horde, the blight hordes, and the warlock and that demon spawn. So he's still got plenty of smash face there. Not really sure off the top of my head what I'm going to do about this one because I personally haven't quite gelled with my list yet. I took it to Slaughter in the Southeast. You may have listened to that one, and it didn't work particularly well for me. I'm still not sure. The problem is partly the list. I think mostly still me though. I think it's maybe about 40% list, 60% me. I reserve the right to change that. So I think I'm probably going to lose my first game. I'll be surprised if I don't. Just to give a quick rundown of the list I plan on bringing. I'll just whack up here. So to give you a rundown, I've got the Brutal Guardian Champion, two Mounted Shamans. One's got the Amulet of the Fireheart, one's got the Shroud of the Saint. Got a Chimera with wings. Two, and so the Chimera also is the attack upgrade. I've got two Brutal Guardian Champion hordes with one's got elite and one's got vicious. I've got a stampede with brew sharpness, two beast packs, a longhorn unit, a spirit walker regiment with the helm of the ram, and a harpy pack. Now, there's a few things actually the guy said in the podcast, the draw about the army, and I thought I'd just pick up on a few of them because it did interest me. It's always interesting to hear how other people look on your list. One thing that was called up which surprised me was why mount the shamans. Basically, I had the shamans on foot initially, and I've only mounted them at the last kind of minute recently, just before I submitted the list. And part of the problem I had was when I charge, the unit's going quite far out of range, and so I was struggling then to keep the inspiring in range and still have the shamans able to cast spells. And it became this choice of, well, do I cast Banechant or do I run them to be able to get them within inspiring range? I found since putting the mounts, it makes it much easier, and it's much simpler to keep most of the armory in inspiring. The other one that was called out was a single stampede. Yeah, that's a mistake. I'll admit that. Normally in Kings of War I hold quite fast to the rule of something's worth taking, it's normally worth taking twice. And this army I wanted to try and break that up a bit. But to be honest, there's a couple of things I'd change. Like the stampede I'd probably drop, or I'd try and fit another one in. I'd probably drop the longhorns as well, but maybe another unit of spirit walkers definitely if I could, because they're really proven sort of a standout unit. But yeah, single stampede, but a mistake. Um, No totem. I had the totem initially, but I found it either got in the way or it just didn't quite work for me, and I found the extra magic items I could get were of more use. What surprised me was how positive you all were about the Brutal Guardian champion. I'm not. I'd say up until recently, I was really not sold on him at all. I'd have said he was the weakest thing in the army, and he was the only reason I've kept him in this long is because I really like the model. Playing with him last week, yeah, I did realise he's actually, if he gets an unimpeded charge, he'll consistently put about, reliably anyway, put about 3 to 4 wounds on a unit, which is quite good. And when you add that in a multi-charge, he does actually work. So I'm slowly sort of starting to come around to see the joy of him. I will admit that one. How am I going to do at Lone Wolf anyway? I'm probably honestly aiming for. I'd like to be in the top half. I think that's about the best I can kind of hope for. It's hard to tell. It's a big tournament, so it could be a bit random, and a lot of it's going to be quite terrain dependent because at the end of the day, I've got that advantage where most of my army, apart from the Brutal Guardians of Pathfinder. So we'll see how we do, and from what I understand, at Lone Wolf as well, you're going to have crazy scenarios. The scenarios are not as straightforward as they are in other tournaments. I think they've got some quite mixed up ones, and then there'll be a lot of terrain, I believe, on the tables as well. So it's going to be a bit different. It's going to have to be a bit of adaptation there. I don't know how it's going to go. I think, as I said earlier, I think the army does work. But I think it's me, not the army, for the most part. Although initially I kind of looked at it, go, my other two games I played, went, oh, it was just bad luck. I lost that. But when I start to really kind of think about it and ponder it for a while, it's kind of not, you know, bad luck can screw you, but bad luck shouldn't screw me over as much as it is doing. I'm not playing the army right, so I've had a few ideas at some recent tournaments at how I'm going to change that, and we'll see how that works for me. But no, yeah, I'm really now excited. Now it's within 2 weeks. I'm really excited about Lone Wolf. It's going to be good fun. Trip to America to play war games. It's been on my bucket list to do for a long, long time. My geek bucket list anyway, to go to a big tournament in America for system. So I'm well looking forward to that one. And if you see us over there, please, come over, say hello. I'll be there with John, Dan, Nick, and Ed. We're all quite nice people. Okay, Nick's not so nice, but the rest of us are nice. Nick can be a bit grumpy. Just don't beat him. If we all let him win, he'll feel much better. And don't expect us all to be polite either. And most of us are northern. We don't really do polite and we don't do well spoken. Ed does. Ed's like he's a gentleman and a professor at I think it's Cambridge. So he is. If you want a stereotypical Englishman, you're probably not far off with Ed there. But the rest of us, well, I'm not English anyway. But the rest of us, yeah, a bit more northern. You may struggle, so I will try to speak slowly and enunciate clearly. So the next thing I wanted to cover off is Kings of War and Maths Hammer. For those of you who don't know, the term Maths Hammer is an old Warhammer one. It comes from when people used to work out all the statistics, odds and probabilities around a unit or a fight and sort of play the game purely based on the maths rather than a bit more strategy and tactics. Now, there was a couple of good articles actually from that appeared last week, I think it was, from Nick and from the Field of Blood guys around probabilities and odds. And it's quite common to see it within Kings of War. If you look in the forums and you see someone going about the how powered or underpowered or overpowered a unit is, inevitably Dan will show up at some point with a spreadsheet with numbers. And that's good and it's all good and it's useful, but it's far from the be all and end all. I think a lot of people place far too much emphasis on the maths and the statistics. For instance, when I work out odds, I tend to always underestimate deliberately. I'll drop dice. So, for instance, if I've got 18 attacks hitting a 3 up, I'll work out 15 attacks hitting a 3 up, so that's 10 hits. And then I'll only assume I get like 8 hits. Why underestimate? That way I'm never disappointed. You play some people who've got a lot of maths hammer, or a lot of maths hammer skills, and they work it out exactly, and they go, well, statistically there was only a 28% chance you'd stand. Well, yeah, but that's a 28% chance I'll stand. I always try and minimise that ability, so I always underestimate. I always assume as much as I can anyway they'll stand. Any leadership check, especially in Kings of War, of less than a double one, I assume they will make. So I'm really big for overkill. I tend to try and build armies around going in and deleting whole units. I don't like to leave them on a few wounds. But the key thing for that to me is underestimation. I tend to overkill sometimes. Like sometimes I go in there, put on a ridiculous amount of wounds on a unit. When in reality, I should have probably engaged 2 units, but I'd rather delete 1 unit than risk wounding two. But one of the key things a lot of this maths hammer and the statistics odds and probability forget and don't really take into account is the kind of one golden rule of wargaming. Everything is a 50-50 chance. Everything you do is 50-50. It will either work or it will not work. That sounds a bit mad, but hear me out. From the way I play games, it's all about risk management. That's the one thing a lot of them don't mention. I think the articles, and I think it's quite important to call it, is risk management. If I put that unit in against that unit, the odds are they should, this unit should absolutely annihilate that unit. So I'm quite comfortable with that risk. There's a 95% chance I'll win that fight. Grand, I'll put that in and win. I'll assume I'm going to win that. That's a safe assumption. But as the game progresses, how much risk you're prepared to take changes. So early in the game, for instance, I might look at a fight and go, well, there's a 60% chance I'll win that, but if I lose that fight, that could put me in the real trouble, so I won't take that. Whereas maybe if I'm losing a game, if I'm starting to lose and lose badly, I might go, well, there's only a 30% chance I'll win that fight, but it's totally worth a shot at now because I'm losing. And that's one thing I think is always worth keeping in mind, and it's one of the things I've came a cropper with when I'm playing Kings of War a couple of times now, is especially if you're winning, your opponent can get reckless. They can take those risky shots. I do it all the time. It's why I tend to lose big. If I lose, because I don't. Some people when they're starting to lose go defensive and try and hold on what they've got. I personally don't. If I'm losing, I look for the opportunity to win. So I go for the big win. I don't try and preserve my loss to a minimum. I always try and look for the win. So I always go, well, that's a risky shot, but I'll take it. I'll put it in there. And for the most part, when I tend to lose games, I tend to lose my whole army for the most part anyway. I think that's the kind of key thing in Wargame, my mind, you need to keep in mind is risk management. The statistics are just one of the tools you use to work out how much risk you're prepared to take at that stage in the game. So early on, you're probably risk averse, you're going to take low risk chances because you're evenly matched with your opponent. If you're winning, you might be careful because you don't want to screw up and shoot yourself in the foot and cost yourself the win. If you're losing, you might go, well, to hell with it, I'm losing anyway, let's try and see if I can turn this around, let's do something a bit stupid that might work, and if it works, then I'll be back on equal with my opponent. And that's what I do. That's how I personally play. But each to their own, but I think it's just a slightly bigger picture there than a lot of the statistic stuff people have been talking about is risk management. I sound like someone from my office here talking about this kind of stuff, but that's what it comes down to. So that was it really, just a kind of quick one to cover off a couple of subjects. I say quick, it's probably about 13 minutes or so. But anyway, I'll hopefully try and get something else out before Lone Wolf. Otherwise, catch you all later.